This film is getting praised by everyone, and I finally got a chance to check it out. What did I think about it? Well, let's discuss it. Late Night with the Devil is a new horror film that is now premiering in theaters and will also be premiering on the Shudder streaming service on April the 19th. The film was directed by Cameron and Colin Cairnes, and I've never seen any of their films before. It stars David Dastmalchian, Laura Gordon, Ian Bliss, and Ingrid Torelli, and it's about a 1977 broadcast in which it goes horribly wrong. Now, I first heard of this film when I went to go see the film Stop Motion in theaters in January, and as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, yes, I'm definitely game for this. This definitely looks like a unique kind of film for Shudder, and it definitely is a unique film. You start off, and it is a found footage and documentary type shot style film, and I know for some that may turn them off finding out that it is a found footage film, but it's not one of those films where it's unfocused and there's shaky cam. No, the actual camera is focused the entire time for this film. The look of this film, you definitely feel like it's in the 70s. The aesthetic, it's got grain to it. It definitely feels like you're in that time period, and it's shot in a 4:3 aspect ratio, so it's shot in a way like you're actually watching this on your TV. So it's one of those films where you don't necessarily have to go to a theater and see it. I think it will play just as well on a home setup, but it does help if you go to a theater and obviously support this, because we definitely want more movies like this in theaters, and I'm so glad that Shudder is getting movies like this into theaters, because I do think this is a unique tale. But I also think you need to check your expectations at the door for this one, because it isn't one of those films that is looking to really scare you all the time. It's a film that really takes its time to really get its narrative really going. It has some comedy with it, which I really did like that it balanced out within the horror genre, and it's building up because you have this host here that's looking for ratings. Picture like a modern broadcast now. That's what this film is. It's one of those films where you're just fighting for ratings, you're trying to climb to the top, and this is a Halloween horror special that this host is doing to get his ratings up. I like that this film, it actually starts out and it has a backstory. It tells you about the host, it tells you what's going on with the show and why it's failing, and just certain things that he's really going up against leading up to this broadcast. I love the color scheme. I love that when they're live at the show, the colors and the aesthetic of that 70s is there, but then when they go to a commercial break, they cut to black and white, and they get to give you a behind the scenes, because who wouldn't want to know behind the scenes of a show and what actually goes down? Because us as an audience in modern television, we don't get that kind of thing. So here I really like they actually dive into that, and we get to see the struggles and the different things that's really going on within the characters. You see how this host, he's going to do anything to get ratings. And that's really the big thing about this film. This host is looking to get ratings. You feel like you're an audience member sitting back actually watching a real show actually unfold. And then he also has a live audience as well watching the show during the broadcast, which I love because you can just see their reactions when everything really goes down. He brings on a different kind of guest on each little segment. He has somebody that debunks these paranormal activities and kind of questions a lot of them, and then he has a book author, and he also has this little girl who apparently can do paranormal things, who he brings onto the show, and he has other guests too that really help the show flow and make feel very interesting. And there's horror moments that happen within the film, but it's one of those films that you have to be very patient. You can't expect it to have a lot of horror moments in this film, which is a little bit disappointing because it makes it feel kind of like it's going a little bit slower than it needs to be. It's a film that's only about 86 minutes, but it definitely hits in certain points of the horror moments. I just wish that we got a little bit more of it. It definitely feels very chaotic when those horror moments are happening, especially in the last 15 minutes of the film, because it hits like a ton of bricks, especially towards the end of the film. I love that they mix in this whole cult thing, which I'm not going to go too deep into, but that that cult thing really does actually go into what's really happening here and the main portion of our host and what's really going on with him and his ratings and what he's really thinking about. And then his past really goes into that as well, which I really did enjoy and kind of got into the artsy side of things as well. It's not asking a whole lot from the audience as a whole. You're just sitting down, you're watching this broadcast unfold before your eyes. There's some details here and there, but I don't think it's a film that really is hard to keep up with. Although I do wish that some details they go into a little bit more, but they don't really do that. And I don't want to really talk about that because that will go into spoilers. As far as special effects in this film, I think it's kind of all over the map. In one instance, I feel like the special effects are good. Others, not so good, but I also think that has to do with the budget itself. These Shudder films, they don't get very big budgets, and I think with what they had to work with here, I think it works for the most part, but I also think that this film, it's a little bit overhyped. It's not the best horror film I've seen in forever and anything like that, but it's a film that is unique, and it's definitely a different film for Shudder, and I would say that I did enjoy it overall. I think it balances out comedy well, has horror moments, which I wanted a little bit more of, and a little bit more explanation of certain things that they introduce, but overall I can say that I had an enjoyable experience with this and I enjoyed it overall, so I would give it a score of 3 out of 5. Probably going to be out of theaters very quick, but it will be on Shudder very soon. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And if you haven't checked it out, are you going to check it out on Shudder, or are you going to watch it in the theater, or are you going to skip it altogether? Leave any and all comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.